guess as of recording this, he's kind of stated he doesn't want to sign a long-term deal and he's happy to play out the last 2 years of his contract. I don't really know. But anyway, he was marked questionable. Questionable when the computer picked him. So that was a bit stressful, especially heading into week 1. And honestly, he really hasn't played well. He was limited in week 1 against the Patriots. And I mean, that's a crushing defeat for the Bengals. I mean, obviously the Patriots aren't going to be the best this year. But, I mean, the Bengals are supposed to be, one of the better teams in the league. So that's definitely a tough start to the season for them. And unfortunately, Chase really didn't get me too many points. I think he got me like 4 or 5. He didn't get a lot of snaps. And then, okay, so 6th was Jamar Chase. 7th was Amon-Ra St. Brown. Oh, I should have drafted him instead. I was leaning toward him or Justin Jefferson, but the computer thought otherwise. Anyway, Amon-Ra went 7th. Justin Jefferson went 8th. Garrett Wilson went 9th. A.J. Brown went 10th. And then in the second round, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Jahmyr Gibbs, Derrick Henry, and then the computer decided that I needed Puka Nacua, who at the time had I believe it was a knee injury, and he was questionable for week 1 as well. So my top 2 picks were both questionable going into the season, which is always a terrible idea, or terrible strategy, I guess I should say. And again, as of recording this, Puka was injured it was either week 1 or 2. I think it was week 1. He was injured after week 1, and he's currently on IR for the next 5 weeks, it says. So, I mean, kind of a waste of a pick here. Unfortunately for LA, both Puka and Cooper Kupp are now injured. So, who steps in? I picked up the new WR1. Oh, I feel like his name's Robinson. We can take a look at my team after. My current team now, at least. But anyway, I drafted Puka at, 15th, 5th in round 2. And it hasn't really worked out very well for me. He wasn't too effective in week 1 anyway. So yeah, a bit of a letdown. Marvin Harrison Jr. went 6th. Kyren Williams went 7th. Travis Etienne Jr. 8th. Isaiah Pacheco went 9th. Drake London went 10th. Devontae Adams, this 3rd round, went first in round 3. Then it was Chris Olave, Travis Kelce, Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, and then the first pick that I ever made in fantasy football. And I'm going to be completely honest, this was the only name that I saw at the top of Yahoo's suggested list that I kind of knew. And I saw some things online saying he was a sleeper-ish. But I reached on him. I recognize I really reached on this guy. But he's turning into, it looks like, the wide receiver 1 out in Kansas. So, he's been a consistent part of my team so far. So I'm not too upset with this pick. But obviously it is a bit of a reach. I pick Mr. Rashee Rice. And as well, he was also questionable for playing this season due to his, what was it? I think he had like an accident with a car or something like that. So anyway, the first 3 picks that I made were all marked as questionable or potentially not playing. So really not the best strategy, I know. Anyway, after Rashee Rice, Deebo Samuel Sr., and then Devon Achane. Oh, I'm just still learning how to pronounce all these names. And then Josh Jacobs, Nico Collins. And then, starting round 4, we have Josh Allen, James Cook, Brandon Ayuk, Jalen Waddell, and then I needed a Detroit Lion. Amon-Ra and Jahmyr Gibbs went really, really early on. And I was looking, and I was like, I need a running back. And David Montgomery was just leaping out at me, obviously. So I selected him. And he's really, week 1 they utilized him a lot more than Gibbs. Week 2, I mean, similar. Gibbs got a bit more snaps, but I've really been liking how Montgomery's really been evolving as a player, and he really, week one, he really took off. I think he had I could be wrong, I think he had a career game, and he's looking really strong. I mean, obviously Detroit has so many options on offense, but I think he's going to be a key part of any, successful offensive strategy that they employ moving forward, and I'm happy I picked him here. I'm not really sure if this is a reach. Yahoo thought it was a reach, but feel free to correct me in the comments down below. And then right after David, Sam Laporta went, and then J.D. Moore, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews. So that rounded out round 4, and then starting round 5, we have Joe Mixon, Rashad White, Kenneth Walker III, Patrick Mahomes, DK Metcalf, and then, I don't know where I remember this, but somewhere in the brief research I did, it said to get 2 good running backs after wide receivers, or something like that. So I just selected this guy. I don't know if he's good. He really hasn't been good for me, and he's also been injured, I guess. Week 2, he was injured. Week 3, he's questionable. Week 1, he was irrelevant. He didn't. I don't know if he got injured and left the game, but he didn't do too much for me in Week 1. So he's been a bit disappointing. Raheem Mostert. Oh, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But anyway, hopefully he can bounce back. I think he's marked questionable to play this week, but we'll see if that changes. I hope it changes. And then after me, Anthony Richardson went, Devontae Smith, CJ Stroud, Malik Neighbors, and then that rounded out round 5. Round 6, we have Alvin Kamara, Stephon Diggs, Michael Pittman Jr., Aaron Jones, and then I went back to wide receivers, and I just picked him because he was like the first one that popped up. He hasn't been playing very well. Apparently, he's supposed to have good upside potential with the Cleveland Browns, but I really haven't seen it. His first 2 weeks have been really underwhelming, but I don't know, we'll see. I think a lot of people are saying that week 3 is going to make or break whether or not they try to move him in fantasy, but I think it's still too early to tell, but I'm really hoping that he pops off. I need him to pop off. And then after Amari Cooper, there's Kyler Murray, Trey McBride, James Conner, T. Higgins, Jordan Love, and that is it for round 6. Starting out round 7, we have, that's a tough name, Rahamdre Stevenson, Dalton Kincaid, Tank Dell, Najee Harris, Zamir White, and then I decided to get a tight end because I didn't have one yet. I had 2 running backs, I think, and I had wide receivers. I didn't really have anything in the way of tight end, so I grabbed George Kittle. I know he's kind of injury prone, but I think he's a good player. I remember watching him play in the playoffs, and he looked good. And it's translated pretty well. He had a really great game. Week 1 he was kind of but week 2 he really stepped it up. I don't know if that's just how his usage was, or if they decided to do, or if he was just playing bad week 1. But yeah, I've been happy with Kittle so far. And then after Kittle, Zay Flowers was drafted. I think this was, I don't know, Zay Flowers seems really good to me. I don't regret taking Kittle here, but I think if I could do it over, I would probably have grabbed Zay Flowers here. And then after Zay Flowers, DeAndre Swift, Kyle Pitts, Terry McLaurin. And that's it for round 7. Going into round 8, it went Evan Ingram, Jalen Warren, and Dak Prescott, David Njoku, and then I grabbed Brian Robinson Jr. for one sole reason, which is I have his rookie card, so I wanted him, and he was there, so I took him. And he's been Williams, Justin Tucker, Brandon Aubrey, and then, I saw everyone was taking quarterbacks, and I was like, I don't really know if quarterbacks are good to grab early or not in the scoring format. So I was really kind of waiting out, grabbing running backs, wide receivers, my tight ends first. And then I decided in round 9, I didn't really want to wait much longer. So I grabbed Joe Burrow. And even though the Bengals are 0-2 right now, and he didn't really play that well against the Patriots, he looked a lot better against Kansas. I was a bit concerned after week 1 when I saw that he was fiddling with his wrist. It doesn't really look like it's been fully healed, but we'll see how it goes. Obviously, under Joe Burrow, the Bengals, when they start 0-2, either are going to make a great playoff run or they're not going to make playoffs at all. So, hopefully it is a good playoff run for them and they can turn things around week 3. After Joe Burrow, Ty Spears, Jake Ferguson, Aaron Rodgers. Oh, he just had a great game. I just finished watching the Jets versus the Patriots game, and Aaron looked amazing. I got a bit nervous when he was running a bit, obviously because of the Achilles injury, but he looked on for 40 years old. He's moving. He looks great for 40. That's all I can say. So hopefully for New York, he can stay healthy, because they look great. New York looked great. There's a lot of, excitement surrounding the team, especially after the disappointment of last year. So I'm hoping that things go well for the Jets. And then after Rodgers, Calvin Ridley. Moving on to round 10, Chase Brown, Chris Godwin, Brock Purdy, the Cleveland defense. And then I grabbed Deontay Johnson. Now, unfortunately for him, and I guess for Carolina Panthers fans as a whole, their team has just looked horrendous. I feel bad for Bryce Young. Obviously the kid was supposed to be, a really, and honestly, I think he is a good quarterback, but it just hasn't really worked out, and he looks so dejected. After their loss week 2, nothing went right. Nothing went right for them, and the team as a whole has just looked flat. And unfortunately, Deontay Johnson hasn't really, he's fallen prey to that. His performance has been horrible. I don't think I've started him once. Not that I would. I have better wide receivers, but I'm hoping for Carolina that they get a win this season. I mean, hopefully they can. Oh, that would really stink if they didn't get a win all year. But I suppose it has happened before. I just don't know when. Feel free to let me know in the comments. Anyway, I grabbed Deontay here, and then Christian Kirk, Jaden Reed, Xavier Worthy. He looked really good week 1. Especially, I guess Ryan grabbed him around 10. Good late pick here, I think. Good late pick. And then we have Jackson Smith, Nijigba, if I'm saying that right. And then Christian Watson. So that's it for round 10. Moving on to round 11. We have Jerome Ford, Zach Moss, Jaden Daniels, Brian Thomas Jr., Caleb Williams, and then, I kind of see quarterbacks similar to how I play goalies in fantasy hockey, where you want 2 good ones where you can rotate depending on their matchup. That could be correct in fantasy football, it may not be, but so far it's worked out. So I grabbed Jared Goff here. I started Burrow week 1, and then I didn't like how he played, so I put Goff in for week 2. Burrow outperformed him, but just being able to go between Goff and Burrow, I think, is nice, especially if one of them gets injured. I still have a good quality quarterback that I can go to. Sutton, Rashid Shaheed, Jake Elliott, and Trey Benson. I didn't really know a lot about him. He hasn't really played very well for me. I believe Arizona is 2-0 right now. I could be really off on that, but I believe they're playing well. And I guess he's just not benefiting off of that. I don't really know if he's the starter, if he's, the backup, but yeah, he hasn't really been the greatest for me. And then we have Jordan Addison. And then 2-1. Poor guy. You hate to see that. And I guess, obviously with his history, it really comes into question whether or not he should continue playing. Head trauma isn't really something you want to mess around with, with long-term serious consequences. And I guess, the more times it happens to you, the easier it is to happen. And, when you look at the hits, they're not they're not illegal hits. It's just the way that he's going into contact. I think, the last one that he had, he was just running at the guy, and instead of sliding, he just went head first into his chest. I actually believe the guy that he hit has had chest issues before. I think. I could be wrong. But anyway, I think it's teaching him how to, I guess, avoid unnecessary contact. Because he was just running with his head down, and he just got absolutely clobbered. I mean, it wasn't a particularly vicious collision, but obviously with his past, it makes him more susceptible to concussions. But anyway, we'll see if he continues playing. I really don't think for his long-term health that he should. I mean, the dude's a millionaire. Just retire, enjoy life with your family and all that. But we'll see. After Tua, we have Brock Bowers, Blake Corum, Hollywood Brown. And that is it for round 12. Moving into round 13, I really had no idea what the strategy would be like this late into the draft. But Rico Dowdle goes first in round 13, DeAndre Hopkins, and then the Dallas defense goes. Right after the Dallas defense, Dallas Goddard goes, Ezekiel Elliott, and then I grab my second tight end, Dalton Schultz. I don't really know a lot about him, but I haven't had to play him or start him yet. He looks alright. I don't know if the Texans are... I mean, I know the Texans are good with CJ Stroud, but I don't know if he really gets the utilization that warrants starting him over Kittle. Thus far, it hasn't looked like he's really performing better than Kittle, so... yeah, I don't really know, but we'll see. After Dalton, we have Jameson Williams, Keon Coleman, Ladd McConkey, New York, the New York defense. Then we have Pat Freiermuth, and then starting round 14, we have Pat Freiermuth, Kansas City defense, Pittsburgh defense, Khalil Shakir, and then I grab Tyler Lockett with the Seahawks. I actually ended up dropping him afterwards, but I'll show you what my team looks like now. Then we have Luke Musgrove, Nick Chubb, Evan McPherson, Tyler Algier, and then Chicago's defense goes around 14. Then afterwards we have TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Mason, Joshua Palmer, Miami's defense, Buffalo's defense. I grabbed Jake Bates. He looked really great in the preseason for the Lions, so I grabbed him, and honestly, he's been great. He went 3 for 3 field goals in week 2. Obviously, not a huge sample size, just two games, but I've been happy with his performance, and I think, I don't think he'll lose his starting role anytime soon. I believe I'm not sure, I could be wrong. I believe they're tips